good follow-on to you.
Thank you, Madam Chair, for holding this hearing. And let me just start by saying that the United States remains a world leader in technology and innovation. It's the birthplace of industries that feed the nation's economic dynamism and benefit the lives of Americans and people across the world. It is essential that we should ensure our supply chains continue to innovate as well, providing them with the agility to respond to advances in technology or disruptive events like the COVID-19 pandemic or Russia's war in Ukraine, which is why I've worked in a bipartisan manner, as Senator Klobuchar mentioned, with her and Senator Wicker on legislative solutions like the Ocean Shipping Reform Act and the Freight Act to ease current strains and to bolster the global competitiveness of U.S. products and industries. The effects of the semiconductor shortage highlight the importance of supply chains, perhaps most notably in the nation's auto industry, which produces more than 11 million vehicles annually. The transformation to automated vehicles, or AVs, is going to place a much greater demand on semiconductors and other crucial products, so it's crucial that the United States remain globally competitive in this space. AVs will radically transform the way Americans move. It's especially true for the elderly and persons with disabilities whose current transportation options are limited, especially in rural areas. Moreover, it has potential to greatly reduce the average of more than 40,000 traffic fatalities on our nation's roadways each year. While American companies currently lead the world in AV technology, the advantage cannot be taken for granted. In allowing China to seize the mantle of innovation is unacceptable, and the U.S. must act boldly to maintain its position. The U.S. regulatory framework and our supply chains must catch up with private sector innovation in order for these technologies to advance. There are tens of thousands of good-paying jobs and billions of dollars in investment that are at stake, which is why my colleague Senator Peters and I have worked together for the better part of 5 years to develop and enact AV legislation, a crucial component in maintaining U.S. leadership in this emerging industry. AVs have the potential to once again transform the way Americans move, and the U.S. must once again lead the world in this transportation revolution. Mr. Feit, in your testimony, you mentioned engineering and innovation centers working toward the development of autonomous and connected vehicles. Beyond bolstering U.S. technological competitiveness through investments in supply chains and domestic industries, what do you believe Congress or the Department of Transportation can do to encourage the testing and deployment of AVs?
Well, first of all, Senator Thune, thanks for the comments. I think you're right on with the opportunities of what AVs can bring to our country and the world. And I think that it's nice that we're in America, the leader in the technology, and as PACCAR, that we're partnered with leaders in the technology, with Aurora, with Waymo, Kodiak, Embark, and others in our development efforts. So I think that what we really need is the clear vision of what will be allowed from a legislative standpoint, and then we're going to need to clarify what the judicial requirements are going to be in terms of liabilities as we move forward. Right now, the industry is in a really good spot in developing level 4 autonomy, and we're moving it forward. It needs to be done safely. That's the most important thing, right? Safety has to be the most critical factor, and we'll continue to focus that way. And then we'll develop capability over a period of time when it's safe in certain corridors, and those corridors need to be clearly identified. And then we just need to have a general knowledge sharing between government and industry on how we make sure that we roll this out in an effective way. So I think it's a dynamic conversation that we are happy to engage with on an ongoing basis.
Thanks. Mr. Gelsinger, given Intel's work in this space, do you have anything to add on promoting the domestic development of AVs?
Yeah, clearly this is an area that the world is moving rapidly. We find some of the regulatory policies in other parts of the world are more favorable now, and some of those nations are moving ahead more rapidly. So we do believe this is an area that requires much more active positioning. Our Mobileye division is one of the clear leaders in the world in this area, and right now we're seeing far more progress at other portions of the world in deploying AV vehicles for both commercial fleets as well as consumer fleets. Much of the technology is being developed here, but the deployment is actually being led at other places in the world. time to act. This is urgent if we want to stay ahead. And I'd also emphasize that AV is one of the most advanced uses of AI capabilities, requiring the most advanced semiconductor technologies as well. So it reinforces the heart of this hearing today. We need the most advanced semiconductors. Today, the auto is about 4% semiconductors. It's estimated to be 20% semiconductors, 5x increase by the end of the decade. So the dependency on semiconductors for these advanced areas like AV is absolutely essential for the auto and trucking and transportation industry of the future.
Thank you, Madam Chair. My time's expired. I've got a question on 5G that I will submit for the record, but thank you.
Thank you, Senator Thune. I saw Senator Tester earlier. He would be next if he's available. If not,